All right, so now I'm going to talk about a few things. I've got 15 minutes to hit through this. And what I want you to do is think about your business. There's two types of businesses, commoditized versus differentiated. Some of these brands, unless you're a little bit older, you may not know what Montgomery Ward is. You may not remember what Kmart is. You probably heard stories about it. But you know what Walmart and Target is. There was a time in the 80s, late 80s, that these four stores were all competing. And they were what's commoditized. It wasn't about being the best, it was about being the cheapest. And what these stores did is they got into this nosedive. So visualize with me like 4 planes playing chicken, diving straight down to see who would bail out first, who would survive. And they were both just going down. Walmart was lower. Walmart would be like, oh, you have 10 cents. Your mustard's $1. We're going to make our mustard 90 cents. Montgomery Ward's like, oh, you're selling this. We're going to come up with our own Montgomery Ward microwave. Walmart's like, okay, well, we'll do that too. Target was like, yeah, we'll do that too. So everyone was like nosediving to who could be the cheapest, right? Who can have the most ghetto store? Really, like it got real ghetto in some of these stores, right? I remember as an 8, like, oh my goodness, we bought our first microwave from Montgomery Ward. It was crazy. It was brown too, like ghetto brown, right? But it was just like it was all this nosedive. They were all just trying to be commoditized. Somewhere along the way, Target said, "We can't survive this. We can't keep lowering our prices. Target was like a ghetto store when I was a kid. It smelled like pork. It did. It was horrible. It was dirty. Snack bar. It was a trash store. And it's hard to think of that now, right? But Target all of a sudden said, we're not going to be commoditized. We're going to become differentiated. They started raising their prices, which everybody thought, well, I remember when everybody was like, what? They put the little Target logo. They started changing things. And they started to differentiate themselves from Walmart, Montgomery Ward, and Kmart. They were like, basically they were saying like, yes, you can go to these stores, you might get cheaper, but you're getting crap. If you want a clean store, if you want a better quality product, a better shopping experience, come to Target. And so Target started pulling out of that nosedive. Walmart, Montgomery Ward, and Kmart continued. Well, what happened? They went out of business. They crashed. They financially could not make it. So they went out of business. Kmart. So what was left for many years is Walmart, commoditized, versus Target, differentiated. Walmart continued on their commoditized business model. They go into a small town, they visit all the local grocery stores, they figure out what everything's priced, and then they lower their prices to put that company out of business. That was their business model. Spread throughout the United States, put small grocery store chains, put Homeland out of business, try to put Crest out of business, try to put all these companies out of business. And they went on this for years. But has anybody been paying attention to what Walmart's been doing lately? Walmart has shifted their business model to start becoming differentiated, right? They actually bought the competitor to Amazon. That's how they started doing online shopping. I think it was called Blue something. I was trying to remember. I said JetBlue, but that's a plane. It's something Blue something. They ended up buying it. They were the first. They stepped into that marketplace to compete with Amazon, right? They also, if you go there now, their stores are much, much different. They're clean. They were the first to do that grocery store, like bring it out to your car, we'll fill it up for you. They're, what's their brand? Which is like, I would never want. Great Value. Great Value? I would never, have you guys seen their Great Value mac and cheese?
They have better goods now, too.
They do. There's like Gouda. Like, we were eating this like mac and I was like, this is really good. And Tara's like, Great Value. I'm like, it's a commercial. It's like held up the box, smiled, they took a picture, we put it now. But it was like, if you shopping through there, I remember shopping through there and they had like strawberry flavored pickles once, like 10 years ago. I was like, that's just gross. Why do you have pickles and strawberry juice? That's just gross. You don't see that no more. They were trying something out, it failed. But they're working on being differentiated. Huh?
That was pig's feet. You started strawberries.
Oh. Well, either way, whatever it was. Oh my goodness. But if you look now, but why is Walmart doing that? They realize that you cannot compete and stay in business being commoditized. It's always a race to the bottom. Always a race to the bottom. It's always a race to go out of business. So now they are shifting and following the differentiated model. And I believe as you go forward, you'll see Walmart continue to do more and more. They'll still have quote unquote low prices, but you're going to see a better shopping experience. Which brings us to your business. All right, so you're like, Peter, why are we talking about stores? In your business, when you're creating your business models, are you commoditized or differentiated? And commoditized might not just be the cheapest. But when I was thinking about this, I was reading in this book by Alex Hormozi, and he talks about this briefly. But I was just chewing on it. I went back and listened to it and read it like 2 or 3 times. And I'm thinking to myself, in our business, if you go to a listing presentation and the client goes, okay, I want to talk to a few more other agents, or I have 2 or 3 more agents to talk to, and you're kind of somewhere in the middle, that should be an indication that you're commoditized. Because you did a listing presentation and they did not go, this person's different. I don't know why I did that, but that was cool. I'm getting clapped from the audio system. But it's an indication that you're commoditized. If you meet someone at a property and you're wanting to do a buyer consultation or set up a buyer consultation, you're talking to them, but they say, well, I don't want to get tied down to a single agent. Something in the back of your mind should go, I'm commoditized. The public does not see anything different from the way I do business than the other 7,000 agents in my marketplace. I just spent 45 minutes with this person doing all my songs, all my dances, did all my flips, and they go, okay, that was nice. We'll see somebody else. They were not mesmerized. Haven't we ever been to like Vegas or seen like a really good show and you walk out like, man, that was a good movie. That was a good show. And it's just like, phew. That's how they should feel. Not like a show like you're entertained, but they should sit there, even if it's their first presentation, the first time meeting an agent, they should go, this is not what I expected. So what I want you to do is get in and look at your business, right? How you do it, the things you say, how you presentations. You know, if you're doing if you're doing a buyer consultation at the front step in front of the doorbell cam, that's commoditized. Think about setting up something. I'm still waiting for somebody to say, hey, Peter, I got this little thing that steps out, so when my clients come, I'm going to block out one of the front parking spaces. I'm doing a buyer consultation at 2, and I'm putting in the front, welcome Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or whatever their names are, and you block off that parking space, and you have something set up in there, and they come in, and it's like a big to-do. I'm waiting for those presentations. I'm waiting to start seeing that sort of stuff. Because I think you have to think about yourself, how are you going to be differentiated? The market is the market a little bit tougher? Yes. Only because the pizza has gotten a little bit smaller, but there's the same amount of people trying to eat it. But that doesn't mean you can't take a bigger slice of the pie. We've got to be like Target where everyone else is nosediving, we don't. That's why I wasn't worried about like the commission thing. Because I haven't heard anyone yet everyone that has done a buyer broker service agreement and put at least 3% on there, and the seller's not covering it. I haven't heard anybody say that they weren't able to. The seller's only doing 2%, that the buyer hasn't gotten the other, or the agent hasn't gotten the other 1%. Because the only time you don't is if you're not perceived as differentiated. So ask yourself, think about your business right now. What are you doing that is differentiated? What are you doing that's different? Think about your online marketing. Right? You're posting stuff on Facebook. What makes your Facebook post about a property different than the other agents that are posting their Facebook posts? What makes your YouTube videos different? What makes your TikTok videos different? What makes something where the public goes, wow, this grabs me, this has attention, this is different? If you don't know what everybody else is doing, look at what they're doing. Another thing you can ask yourself is, are you having fun doing it? I think I've spoke to a few, I even spoke up here about this, right? Like I was talking about, like, how's lead gen? Oh, hate it. If you hate calling people for lead generation, do you think the people you're calling are enjoying it? Do you honestly think that you sit down, frustrated, don't want to do it, that you start calling people, that does not come out on the other side? Everyone ever got in a fight and someone says, I don't like your tone? Or you're in a conversation, you're like, I don't like your tone. And you're like, I don't have a tone. You do have a tone because your non-conscious mind, your brain won't let you lie to yourself. If you're in a bad mood, it's going to come out. If you're in a great mood, it's going to come out. So when you sit down to make calls, if you're sitting down to make calls and like, or call your database, you're inviting them to a Halloween event, and you're like, do you honestly think that the clients don't know that? That they're not feeling that vibe from you? It's the weirdest thing. Like when I make posts on Facebook, and I'm just like, oh, I got something really good. This is good stuff. And I just kind of type it out and post it. And I'm a little excited about it, but meh, I just need to post something. Nothing happens with it. But then when I'm like working out and I'm all hopped up on pre-workout and thinking about something, I'm all fired up and I pull something in and I just send it out there and it's got like 15 grammar errors in it. I get the most like feedback from those things. Like somehow the energy like transfers. I don't know how, it's just how God made the universe. You can talk to him about it. I don't get it. But people sense that. So when you're thinking about being commoditized and differentiated, how many agents hate lead gen? Most of them, right? They're commoditized. But what about the ones that are excited, that sit down every day, right? Put some music on. Jump up and down. Get up and walk around. Get excited about it. Make it a game. How many people can I call before I get an appointment? How many people can I have 2-minute conversations with? How many conversations can I have with these people? How can I get an appointment set up? Same thing with open houses. If you're depressed and hate doing them, stop doing them. They're not going to be successful for you. Because you're just commoditized. You're like everybody else. But if you're just sitting in an open house and you're like the 10 other open houses they went to before, why would they pick to work with you? You following what I'm saying? So I want you to, like, as you sit down, if you're building out your systems, your process, or sitting around doing open house, write down these 2 words at the top of a notepad, commoditized or differentiated, and look at what you're doing. And ask yourself, is this anything different than any other agent in the marketplace? And if the answer is no, that might be why you're unsuccessful. Right? Like Tara mentioned, and she mentioned earlier, she actively runs at least 115 listings. Actively. That's from being differentiated. You don't win that many listings by being like everyone else. That's not saying it because she's my wife, but it's how did she get there? She became different. What's everybody else doing? What can I do differently? When I was mentioning earlier about going and showing your buyer new construction just for feedback or whatever, that's differentiated. That's different. How many other agents do you think are doing that? Probably none. Very small amount. But when you think about that client, because now think about your client now, they're sitting at home, they're hanging out with their buds, their friends, whatever, and they're like, oh, how's the house going? Oh, it's so great. Oh man, we went by this new construction home. It wasn't what we were looking for, but it was so cool to see it. You don't think they're having those conversations? When they say, I'm getting ready to list my house. Oh, you need to talk to my agent. They did this, this, and this. It was so amazing. I get updates once a week. They call me, tell me what's going on. Every time feedback within 24 hours, I'm getting feedback what's going on. They're constantly in touch with me. I get market updates. They created this Facebook ad. They had like 3 people come by our property and do videos on it, which got a lot of traction on it. It's crazy how much activity is going on. They sent me like clips of the videos. I love it. Differentiated. Does anybody brag about Walmart? Not before. But how many videos are there talking about Target? Whether there be jokes or I went into Target for eggs and I came out with $500 worth of product. Think about that. We think that, well, the public won't do that for us. They're doing it for Target. There's I think it's like a TikTok like Dads of Target where people joke around about hanging out in the parking lots while their wives are shopping. Like tailgating while the wives are in shopping. That is the public creating marketing for Target. So the public will do that if you create something so amazing that they want to. You know, it is, I've got 1 minute, I'm going to finish with this. I saw it on Mad Men. I wasn't going to play the clip because, again, with that, there's this commercial, and again, I'm dating myself with this, and it was just a picture of French fries. And the ad for said, pass the Heinz. That's all it said. It didn't say Heinz ketchup. It just said, pass the Heinz. And what Heinz ketchup did was they changed their marketing to be so differentiated from all the other ketchup that people stopped calling ketchup ketchup, they were calling it Heinz. Right? How many of you say ketchup, you still think of Heinz? Like, we need to get ketchup. And you just buy Heinz. Like, that's ketchup. Everything else is trash. There's probably other good ketchups. But all they did was say, pass the Heinz. So they differentiated themselves from the competition by not saying Heinz ketchup, like, here's ketchup and here's our brand. They made the public feel if you don't buy Heinz, you're not actually buying ketchup. You're buying some knockoff. That's differentiating. So look at what other companies are doing outside of real estate and ask yourself, how are they separating themselves from their competitors? And how can I incorporate that to my business to be differentiated?